previews for the upcoming events. I'll go through them one by one and sort of talk about them. So the first one on our list is called Energy Amplifier Initiation, and this seems to be one of the larger events for this update. Based on like the pictures and previews that we've gotten so far, it's kind of reminds me of the Meteor event aesthetically, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I would imagine this is like a combat-based one where you get like buffs and stuff for fighting waves of enemies.
Beneath the light of jadeite. So I assume this could be, these chunks could be jadeite.
Yeah, so you get like these little crystal things, which I assume are some sort of event currency or for crafting. And you also get fractured fruit data, which if we look at the full event now, it is used to obtain, among other things, a free copy of Diona, who is probably one of the less
Wonderful.
popular characters.
That's what I've always wanted.
But I'm sure free players will appreciate another chance at a character. That's the big reward from this event. The next event, if you want to talk about this one, Rory, is the Battlefront Misty Dungeon.
Yeah, looking at the picture, there isn't too much to go off of, but considering the name, my kind of assumption would be it's going to be a similar sort of thing to the kind of level up domains or the like campaign domains, where it's slightly more long form in the fact that you have to fight through different groups of enemies through different rooms, a bit of like parkour across some platforms, and then you fight a final enemy sort of thing. I'm hoping it's going to be more like that because a lot of players have been asking for kind of dungeon-like things to do with their friends for ages now. I don't know if this one's going to be multiplayer. It looks pretty single player from the
I would think so, yes.
Yeah, it looks very single player from the picture. And it seems to be like the other ones with leyline disorders. It's going to be just randomly assigned buffs or nerfs for each room or domain or level, however you want to
Okay,
refer to it as.
okay, so looking at this now, you don't actually use your characters. If you see, it says trial characters, and you can preview them. Oh, I see what. Okay, so I see what this is. So it's like a domain, and you get like a leyline disorder, which gives you like a buff or whatever. And you choose from like a set of 10 characters there. They aren't necessarily ones you own, and you just have to do, I guess, whatever's in the domain.
Well, I mean, it says trial character, but I mean, then again, I don't know because the whole thing is called a trial, so I don't know if that means trial is in like the normal.
They've always used stat phrasing when it's like, oh, you can
Yeah,
preview them and see how they perform.
they have.
Oh, that's cool.
That's the if that's the case, that is quite cool. That's the problem with the English language; it's never that quite clear. It could mean one thing or several, but if that is the case, then that would be pretty cool. If it
Especially so,
isn't,
since these are usually rough translations. At the
true,
bottom,
yeah,
it says nothing can be taken inside. So yeah, I think
yeah, which means that would fit the theory that these
that
are kind of
these are like pre-made things. And also to your point, assemble your adventuring dream team and prepare to journey to a place
yes to a place
to do a thing.
to do a thing sometimes occasionally.
Mhm.
But yeah, so yeah, all of that putting together, it does make it sound like they're going to give you a choice of characters. I mean, as you can see from the picture, it's a very random choice of characters, like a few purples, few 5 stars, nothing that links them in any sort of way. They're kind of from everywhere and doing everything.
Well, they're linking in there all the ones that I don't have.
I mean,
Almost
true.
half of them.
Yeah, like fair enough, I suppose. But yeah, so that could be quite interesting if it just. I'd like to see the kind of thought behind that one though, in game, in like lore wise, that's like characters that you may or may not own, just existing in this mountain place. I wonder if it's some sort of like dream world or something. It says Misty Dungeon, so it could well be some sort of
Maybe.
weird dreamscape.
The next event that they talked about is called Mimi Tomo. Has to do with the unusual hilichurl.
Yeah, the description of this one's quite interesting. To capture the unusual hilichurl, maybe you should try calling on help from other hilichurls. Which I wonder if they're finally going to do something more with the character who's always trying to read poetry to hilichurls.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, there you go. Yeah.
While we don't know the
it,
specifics
yeah,
of what
we
the actual event will be like, you will be able to get among the usual rewards some leeway style furnishings, which I think
which will
look
be
pretty
quite
nice.
nice. Yeah,
I like the
it will
big
be,
chandelier type thing.
and it's also
I don't know what you'd
to
call
be
that.
said that you can, yeah, it's that sort of thing. But you can earn primos more and level up books, which is always nice as well.
Mm-hmm.
You get those kind of Oriental style material wall like separator things that you would see. You seem to get some sort of banners or
There's some
curtains.
banners, there's some paper lanterns, a rug,
Some, yeah,
little decorative pieces.
nice little like almost streetlight type thing
Mm-hmm.
for the corner of the room. It looks quite nice. I'm quite curious to see how this one turns out. It would be quite interesting to see just the Hiller Trolls being more than just generic enemy Mark 1 for you to beat up if you
Certainly.
actually get to communicate with them and work alongside them, because they have a language, so they are at least somewhat intelligent. So it'd be interesting to see you actually using that intelligence.
Certainly. They're having a double talent level up event. That's pretty self-explanatory, and I don't really think we need to go into that more. And then they're having hide and seek.
Yeah, so jokingly called Genshin Prop Hunt, but I don't know if we know too much about this other than there are two teams. Assumedly, one is hiding and the other one is hunting. They're
Mm-hmm.
called Rebels and Hunters, or
Rebel
Hunt. Well, it
scum.
says Hunter. Interestingly, so maybe there's only one person
Dead by
looking.
daylight. That's what it is.
It's definitely, oh my god, unarmed characters being gunned down. Yeah, this will be an interesting one. So I don't know if you just run around as characters and you have to hide, and like name tags and stuff are taken away, or if you become some sort of new entity to hide as. And you earned Wind Trace coins, which you can exchange for rewards, and you can get a background for your profile out of it as well.
You're gonna find me clipped between the broken mountain terrains that you can hide in, where you can fall through the
Yeah.
world.
Oh yeah.
Because I know they're out there, because I've been in them.
Oh yeah, I've been to a couple as well. Or just
That's gonna be the meta. You just hide in the broken terrain that they didn't
I
quite finish.
wonder. Yeah, I wonder if there's going to be. I assume there's going to be like set areas, but I'd be very interested to see where these set areas are, because some of them, like I know at the top of, if you go, I think it's upstream from where the ocean is. There's a little underground lake where you kind of just fall behind, like fall through a rock slightly into it. So if it lets you hide in that area, then it's just game over.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I assume time limit. The hiders hide, the hunter hunts. If the hunter finds them all, win. If the hiders don't get caught, they win. Sort of
Yeah, I mean
general style gameplay.
everyone's played
Yeah,
that sort of game.
but it could
Uh,
be quite fun.
yeah, it's pretty crazy to see like the events that they have now. Like, was the first event was that like alchemy one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
With like the boiler or whatever in the Thousand Winds Temple. That was like
yeah,
terrible and
that
everyone
was
hated.
very weird. Yeah,
I didn't even play it.
I played it once or twice, just because it was a new thing to try, but I didn't like it either. You have to, I think it was you had to generate elemental bursts and then pick up the energy kind of remnants that were left over from it, and it would go into the machine and level it up, and you get more rewards the more it's leveled or
Mm,
something. But and to be fair, they've done things since which have the same sort of gameplay,
better.
just done a lot better. Yeah, like the what was it? It was that the meteorite event, the big meteorite that showed up. You had to do more or less the same thing, but it was just done in a more fun way.
I will say it's a shame they haven't done like a story event in a while.
Yes, I would like that as well. But we are getting new story quests
Hmm.
from this, so that hopefully we get some new stuff from that.
We'll get to them in a bit. So moving on to the more miscellaneous section of this post. We have two new artifact sets, which are my second favorite part of this update because I love my artifact. We have the Tenacity of the Millilith and the Pale Flame set, which are quite interesting, I'd say, in how they perform.
Yeah, quite
I can talk about the first one if you want to talk about the second.
sure. Yeah, go for it.
So, Tenacity of the Millilith is interesting. It gives 20% extra HP, and then when you have four of them, When an elemental skill hits an opponent, the attack of all party members is increased by 20%, and shield strength increased by 30. You can trigger it every half second. This effect can still be triggered even when the character who's using this artifact set is not on the field. So,
which is quite nice. Yeah, you don't. It's a very supportive one in the fact it doesn't have to be present. It's quite nice.
this is almost something that you would want to have at all times on someone at least.
On someone, exactly. Yeah.
It's great for, I think it was Yang Fei. I think would probably make a lot of good use of this. But even Eula, wow. So it's just like a do more damage set, and like it's just be better.
Yeah,
But I
it's
think
just a
it's
straight
really
buff.
cool that you get to use even when you're not on the field. That's insane. That's like having 2 artifact sets at once.
Yeah,
Wow.
as long as you have it on someone who's just there for the show.
That's great.
You've got a cheerleader basically.
Yeah. Put it on Barbara.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. Funnily enough.
And then Pale Flame. You want to go through that one?
Sure. Quite a nice looking set. I'll give it that. It's a 2-piece set. Physical damage up 25%, which is similar to another set. I can't remember the name of. And the 4-piece bonus is when an elemental skill hits an opponent, your attack is increased by 9% for 7 seconds. This effect can be stacked up to 2 times and can be triggered every 0.3 seconds. Once 2 stacks are reached, the 2 set effect is increased by 100%. So essentially, once you have the 2 stacks, instead of 25% physical damage increase, it's actually a 50% physical damage increase, which is no small buff.
Nothing to
That is
sneeze
quite
at.
sizable. Yeah, this could well become the new hit with sword set. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this will become the new hit with sword set because, well, like especially for I think this could be used quite well on someone like Jean, who does a lot of hitting with sword, because her E comes off of cooldown very often. It's not a very long cooldown on that. So you can just keep blasting people, keep getting these stacks, and then just have 50% extra physical hit damage. And your attack is increased by 9% for every for 7 seconds, every 0.3 seconds. So it's you essentially just do a lot more damage, even if it's not elemental. You just do a lot more damage in general, which is no bad thing.
It is definitely potentially powerful, but it also does have a drawback in that you have to use the elemental skill. So someone like
you'd want to use someone whose elemental skill is not
does not apply
particularly
element. Yeah,
useful
so
itself.
like Taking, completely useless because their elemental skill imbues her sword with electro.
Yeah, which would remove the physical damage entirely.
Yeah, so it's
someone
very
like
good, but definitely I'm glad that they haven't made it brokenly overpowered, because like if you're not dealing physical damage, you can't take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it could work pretty well on Noelle, although her shield coming back off cooldown is a lot longer, so it's kind of less useful there.
You mean like
But
20
the one
seconds?
the one that comes Jean is the one that mainly springs to mind. Maybe Kiki, although I can't remember if her E applies cryo to the blade. I'm not 100% sure. But if it doesn't, then that could be another option. But essentially, the ones I'm thinking of are just like combat healers here, basically. The 2 combat healers would benefit from this, although the healing would, suffer from not using the healing sets.
Some quality of life changes we have now. The amount of original resin to reclaim rewards for the first 3 bosses of each week is reduced by half, which is a good step in the right direction. I still think it should be lower. Because they are already gated by a timer of a week.
Yeah.
So why have a resin timer?
Yes, I agree. And I think they will eventually have to either remove or sizably reduce the resin cost when they add more regions, because there's going to be so many weekly bosses, by the end of it. So they're going to have to do something about that. But I think for now, with only Leeway and Mondstadt fully fleshed out, it's going to be.
Well, you can't do all of the bosses for discount now because there's 4.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I was going to say
As
the
we'll
new
get to in a
boss.
bit.
Yeah, the new boss that comes in is going to. So it's 50% off on the original ones, or however you do it, but you're going to have to pay full price for the last one. But I mean, that is still that's still a saving of resin, so we can't complain.
Friendship earned co-op is doubled. That's cool, I guess. Although,
Yeah, domain friendship XP. That is quite nice because you can only bring half as many characters as you usually would.
yes.
So having them increase by more is quite nice.
An
And again,
in-game,
it's very much the game saying you should have some friends, play this
Mhm.
game with friends.
An in-game mail is sent out before limited time events. That's nice. You can manage the voiceover resources of different languages. That's cool, I guess.
Yeah, in case you're I don't know, running low on space, I suppose.
I think that's for mobile more than like PC.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
It's
Where
like,
that would make a difference.
yeah, if you want to have the audio for 4 different languages or whatever. A new weekly boss.
Yeah, this
Azdaha,
one's
I
interesting.
think, is how you pronounce it.
Azdaha. I would imagine so. I can't
Is
imagine saying that any other way.
a fat dragon
Yeah,
with
he's
flab.
still very geo looking, and well, the color scheme of the image and everything seems to go with that.
Well,
So
considering the little geo emblems above his name.
yeah, well, and it's all in orange, which
Mm-hmm.
is usually a symbol as well. But yeah, it's interesting that they're adding another geo boss on top of the last geo boss they added. I don't really know what to say about that. Maybe it wasn't as popular as they thought, or maybe it was very popular and so they added another one. Either way, I'm not 100% sure on it, but
They're also adding a cryo hypostasis.
that will
So I
be
guess that'll
nice.
be for Eula's material.
Yeah, or hopefully just like cryo in general to give you an alternative to the cryo flower. I suppose that would also be nice.
Please just add another water boss, though. Oh my god.
Hydro hypostasis when
I would love that.
the ocean is just suddenly very lonely. It's like, why is nobody coming here? That's oh, no.
Yeah. Uh,
It's the
I always
cooler
think it's
Daniel.
cool that to point out that the hypostases are named after the what's
It was letters of a certain alphabet. Was it
it's the
Greek?
one that Jewish people use. What's that called?
Hebrew?
Hebrew. It's Hebrew, the Hebrew alphabet.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Because
Yeah,
it
which
was
is
like a left bet.
yeah, it's Aleph Beth Gimel, I think
Gimel,
was
and then now it's
the
the
Geo
left,
one.
which is
Yeah.
4. Well, the fourth letter rather.
Interesting choice. I guess
I
they
would
just
just
thought
chalk it up to the
they
I
thought
just
it's
think it's
yeah.
neat.
Yeah, I was
That
about to
is
say I think it's they literally just said that sounds cool, let's go with that rather than any sort of
yeah.
deeper meaning.
Um, there is a new 5-star Claymore, which the picture I have unfortunately is not in English, but it appears to be a cryo Claymore of some kind,
Yeah,
assumedly
it looks
for
very
Eula.
cryo. Yeah, the timing of its addition is and just the look of
They
the
always
blade in
add
general.
one weapon for the banner character, and then
They
like
do,
one like
yes.
miscellaneous 5-star. Um, they're going to do a Zhongli rerun with Yanfei. That'll be the first banner of 1.5, and assumedly Eula will be the second.
I would assume so, yeah.
They are adding new hangout events.
Yes, I'm very concerned by the Noel 2.0 one. I am I don't know why they're making a 2.0 one. I didn't have any issues with 1.0. The like one of the endings is maybe they don't feel safe with because it's
Too
as far as the game
risque.
goes, fairly suggestive, I suppose. Even though they're just lying there fully clothed. But like, okay, I guess that's too risky. But that's my concern because I was quite happy with the Noel Hangout itself, and I know a lot of people were like pretty happy with it, and just how blessed she is.
They
So
seem to be
it'll
doing a lot
be
of feedback about the hangouts. I think that they're not quite sure how they feel about them.
yeah, I would agree. I feel like
Because they had that survey
it's
the other day.
yeah, they did. Yeah, it was quite interesting. How it was like it used normal Genshin gameplay alongside a kind of new camera angle and style with like
I still don't
they've
like the
always had.
camera angle.
Yeah, I know you have an issue with it. It's but it's like I can't remember which story quest or like they added it in with, but that friendship system with like the hearts in the top left has been there for a while, and it's only very rarely been used. So I think they always had this in mind, and they were just testing how it works in game with those kind of quests where you have
It
to like
still
befriend
plays
people.
almost no role in the actual hangouts either.
Well, it does. You can if you lose all your hearts, which
Yeah,
is
but you have to
almost
be like
impossible,
stupid.
but oh, you do. But if you lose all your hearts, you do fail. So it exists for a purpose, even if it's a basically useless purpose.
And then a Diona hangout. Boy.
Ah, yeah, of course. You go and burn down Mondstadt's wine industry together, assumedly. And then
Diona, not Klee.
No, Diana wants to destroy the wine
Oh,
industry in
I guess they
Mondstadt.
both do.
That's her big thing. She hates alcohol and she
Well, the
wants
way
to
you
destroy.
phrased it.
Well, I mean, it's just I could have said destroy, but I mean,
Eh.
either way, I assume one of the storylines will be her trying to like fight the wine industry and probably failing.
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean,
Anyways,
if people like Diona, they like her, but I know a lot of people aren't great fans of her, so I'll be interested to see how that goes down.
We'll have to see. Anyways, let's move on to
Yeah.
the Abyss Selector, who is a new enemy. I assume like the heart, like the whatever the hell you would call in between a normal enemy and like a mini boss, like the Fatui agents and stuff. It's the Abyss Selector, who looks pretty
Some
neat.
sort of elite enemy. But yeah.
That's what it is, an elite enemy. I guess a counterpart to the Herald.
It seems to be, even the design seems to suggest it's just Herald, but for lightning rather than water.
The evangelists and scholars of the Abyss. So someone's out there preaching, not kumbaya.
Yeah, I don't understand why they've got, like...
Well, you always
I mean,
gotta have a good
scholars,
religious aspect to your,
Yeah, I suppose
unfathomable horror.
scholars... Yeah, exactly. Scholars I get. Because... the most recent story quest explained what the Abyss actually was, and it came from a very advanced human society. So scholars makes entire lot of sense, but the Abyss doesn't seem to have the thing they came from was not having a god at all, as the
I'll have to
story
bleep this
says.
out so it's not spoilers.
I mean, if they're watching a video about 1.5 and they haven't finished 1.4 yet, then what can they expect?
It just came out, this story quest. People might not have done it yet.
I suppose. But, well, if you're going to bleep it, you're going to bleep it. But essentially, it would be interesting to see why they have those, considering their background, which, if you haven't played the story quest, go play it, and you'll see what I mean.
Nothing like a good attack priest.
Yeah, good old warrior monks. Let's go.
No, warrior monks and attack priests aren't the same. And then to wrap up our miscellaneous section, we did get a preview that the next part of Zhongli's story quest is coming, as well as, of course, getting Eula's story quest.
Be interesting to see what more they're going to do with Zhongli, considering they did a fair kind of hopefully this isn't spoilers, his last story quest.
No, it's not spoilers.
The first act, yeah, it's been long enough. But yeah, his first one was quite interesting and quite long and like detailed about his background and the background of Liyue and that sort of thing. So it's be interesting to see what more they're going to tell there. With Eula, it will just be an introduction, really, won't it? I mean, it would just be like, here's
all the
Eula.
Act 1s are.
Yeah, and here's the test drive, like, so you can use her and spend your primos on her.
Yep.
That sort of thing. But hopefully there's some good bits in there as well.